Good evening to everybody in the room and to all of the people watching online. It's a great pleasure to introduce Marco Imperadori, a longtime friend and collaborator who's responsible for a special relationship between Kyoto University and the Politecnico di Milano, which allows students and professors to exchange each year through Erasmus+. So I've known Marco for over 10 years. As a collaborator first in Macau in China and more recently in Japan. So Marco is a professor, a researcher, a designer based at the Politecnico di Milano. He holds an MSc and a PhD in building engineering, but he prefers to act and think as an architect. He's been a visiting lecturer and professor in many universities all around the world. His list of achievements is long and impressive. In fact, it's simply too long to read it all out here now. But importantly, he's currently the Polytechnic's Rector's Delegate for the Far East, which brings him to Japan and China and other parts of Asia very frequently. And he's also the scientific consultant for the Arte Sella Art Park in relation to the architectural and design installations, which involve many well-known architects and designers, including a number from Japan. And he's very active still in China, in Macau, I think, and more and more involved with the Japanese architectural community. His topic tonight is care architecture, or architecture for care. As he says, it's a delicate subject. Aesthetics is part of the goal, but not in a selfish way. Beauty can be very important to help people with special needs to achieve enhanced relief. So I'll pass over to Marco, and then there'll be time for some discussion at the end.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Thomas, for this introduction. Thank you, all of you, to be here, and to the people online. It's a pleasure to be here, back in Kyoto. With Kyoto University, we have this now long-time relation with Thomas. We knew each other before, and as he moved here, I was very, very keen to go on with such prestigious university. Lecture that I will give tonight is Care Architecture. Is something I would like to share with you, and then maybe we can have the discussion. It's about how we should care, why we should care when we design, for many reasons, because of course the aesthetical principle is something that drives and moves each designer, because we want beauty. Vitruvius, the Roman architect, said the three pillars were firmitas, utilitas, and venustas. So the stiffness, the resistance, the structural resistance of a building, the function, and then the beauty. But here I think we should step beyond and go into the real need of the people for whom we design. And some of these people are very weak. And sometimes we need to ask ourselves, what is the starting point? So I will show you this through some experiences because it's late and I would like you to see a lot of images and then to have ideas. So this is Greta Thunberg. You don't know, Greta Thunberg is an activist. This is a silhouette of Greta Thunberg, an activist in Sweden, protesting from climate change. We had a discussion with Thomas whether climate is changing or not. But it's a funny picture because this is a sculpture made by my alias as a sculptor, Ugo Re, and it's in steel, and these are different faces of children, and that's me. So let's put the face to this climate change or this global warming or whatever, this changement in our society, pollution of cities, whatever. Materials, care about materials. Yes, care about materials is the first step. And thinking about recycle, which is also very philosophical in the sense that coming in Asia, especially Buddhist culture, the cycle is inside the philosophy. The samsara is the cycle of birth. Okay, you always rebirth. And our modern society, contemporary, sometimes forget this. So let's see how material recycle can be new materials or can be part of a balanced equilibrium. So plastics forever. These are advertisements of plastics. This is in Milano, how plastic can be again part of a cycle or should be moved away from the seas, and we produce too much. And plastic was oil, then becomes plastic, so allow all of us to live in a better way, to have water to drink in this plastic bottle, but then we need to recycle it. We need to avoid the fact that we sprawl it into the environment. But we can recycle jeans. This is Renzo Piano's famous installation used in San Francisco Museum. It was jeans. So again, after using it, we can avoid to burn it and produce greenhouse effect, recycle. So from jeans to insulation for buildings. Or paper. Paper, of course, we know the potential of recycling paper instead of cutting new trees and instead of burning the paper. And for example, this is close to my lab in Politecnico, how we can recycle the material. And let's start from this first experience. This is Fukushima, you know better than me. I visited this a few months after the disaster. This is my picture, not in Koriyama, but in Miyagi Prefecture. I was shocked by this picture. Because I saw the tsunami live. I was in Mexico with my wife in Palenque. And on television, there was a tsunami, the wave coming and the distraction. So, my gosh, the power of nature. Kengo Kuma, my friend, calls it the power of nature. And this is what was the leftover. This experience starts with my friendship of this group, Atelier OPA from Tokyo, Professor Suzuki from Kogakuin, Tokyo, and the team, Yuki Sugihara, designers. And they started to do this experience with the kids after the tsunami, making these small shelters, because you remember better than me that people were left in big rooms like this to stay together for months without even having a small privacy. So sometimes, okay, is this architecture? No, this is just paperboard shelters. But these paperboard shelters allow you to have a little bit of privacy to sleep or to change yourself, etc., when the privacy and everything is gone. And maybe also your family is gone because they died. So this creates a sociality, and the kids were enjoying very much. You see the kids there. And he was sending the file, so you could print it out and cut it, and everyone could build this very quick shelter and then recycle it after that. So here you see other images of this interesting experience done in very, very delicate situation. So what we did after 1 year, he came to Milan with my student, we did the same workshop. So we were to take some leftover paper boards in some supermarkets, and we built some nice shelters. So you see my students, his students. We built a shelter, that's me, sleeping in a shelter. And we gave a prize. So we created mixed teams, Japanese, Italians. And this was the winner because tilted up, you could change. And then you could put it down and sleep. And the sleeping was like a tatami made by recycled paperboard, the one that Shigeru Ban loves, the tubes, okay? And these tubes were from Plotter in our university. So it was clever, the design. They did this design plus this, and they were the winners. But they did many shelters in 1 day. Very, very nice, and with a very clever idea. So after that, we came to this, Occupy, with Art, Love, and Peace. Occupy the Triennale of Milano. Triennale is a very famous institution in the world for architecture design. It's in Milano. And so we took these 3 shelters, the twins, the single, and what we call is the dog house, where you can just stay and sleep. And we made this Triennale di Milano. You visit this, Thomas, maybe. So we placed this inside an exhibition. There was an exhibition about housing. So the new way of living and housing. So our protest was that in Milan you have a lot of homeless also because of the society creates this. So we have to care also to this limit situation. I was in Osaka yesterday. I was shocked by seeing close to, I don't remember where, a huge amount of homeless. They are not even more allowed to stay under the bridge. So they are protesting because the government wants to push them away. But where do they go? Even in Italy, we have such a situation. And the fact is that you don't have to push them away. You have to find solutions. Anyway, this was a little bit of provocation in Milano city center. And outside the exhibition, there was this. So we put this. And in Milan, you find many people living in just shelter of paperboard under arcades in the city center because you have the warm coming out from the tube, and of course you know this situation too. If you go to Ueno, you can see this. In Ueno, you can see Milano, New York, everywhere. But these are people. Should we care or not about these people? So this was just our provocation. Then, staying on the paperboard, this is a sentence by Confucius. If your plan is for 1 year, you plant rice. If your plan is for 10 years, you plant trees. But if your plan is for 100 years, you educate children. And so this is what I do in my lab sometimes. This is my lab. So if you come, this is my lab, Velux Lab. In Bovisa campus, I host children to visit the lab, to talk about materials. They love it when I show this because I tell them, smell it, they smell nothing. It's a ceramics. but it comes from the shit. And they are shocked. It's a mud. It's a Japanese technology, komatsu matere. Former mud, Kengo Kuma used this outside the stadium in Tokyo to be like a sponge, or Kitagawara in Milano Expo. Because this, like a sponge, can store water, and when the sun comes, it evaporates, keep it cool. So avoid the so-called heat island. So we care about, in this case, the water cycle, the atmosphere, the temperatures of the heat island. So children love to come and see all this, or we create plaster from shells, from marine shells, we can create plasters. So how we can care about the materiality in a different way. Of course, we made also this experience with the kids close to my lab. They enjoyed, very small kids, they really enjoy to make the shelter and to make some colors, like they are Japanese colleagues of the elementary school in Japan. And then in Favara, in Sicily, this is a place where I am involved since many years in the School of Architecture for Children to care again about a new mentality, because we have to care, because the new generation will have new ideas. Let's see what they will have. So this is an installation I did with Kitagawara, a former part of the Japanese pavilion in Japan. And this part of Favara is very poor. And there is a problem of mafia in south of Sicily. So it's a social care also, to create new ideas for these children to stimulate. So we have occupied the small city center. So here you see, we totally occupied the piazza with these shelters, and it was really funny. Then let's start from the paper. Now let's go to the earth, Mother Earth, okay? Should we care about the earth and Mother Earth? Yes, earth is very interesting. We can see a lot the use of earth in construction and architecture. You go around Kyoto and you see all this beautiful plaster and you see all this beautiful mud becoming architecture. Also inside, together with wood, for example, or alone. So earth is interesting. And I bring you to Africa, okay? Because I've done something in Africa. I haven't been there because I do something in Guinea-Bissau and Burkina Faso. And especially the one I'm showing you is in Burkina Faso, where there is a risk of terrorism. So they say to me, don't come, because if you come, maybe they kidnap you, but they kill us. So in this case, I care about my partners there, so I don't go there. I design from here, I supply from here. But we are a team. Even if I'm the leader, we are a team. And this is a priest, so he's not that tall, he's like that. But that shows you how tall is the house of the termites, the white termites. White termites eat every kind of wood except very, very hard wood, which is teak, iroko, or others. Means that you cannot build in wood there. Otherwise, the termites will eat it. And if you cut the hardwood, then you create deforestation, because it grows very, very slowly. So you cannot use wood really there. So these are where people in Guinea-Bissau live, how they live. Traditionally, a earth house, plus they have hardwood structure, and then they have this thatch wood. But thatch wood, you see, it doesn't last that much, because this is the condition in summer, very, very hot, equator, tropical equator. So you stay here in the shadow comfortably. Outside is quite hot. But then the season is like that. A lot of rain that destroys the roof, and you have to stay protected. So it's a double season, and no money at all. Very, very poor situation. So, and when it rains, the house of the termites totally blows away. So it's very good, the use of the earth for the termites and for human beings because of the climate, but it is sensible to water. It will melt, it will not stay, let's say, resistant. And cement is expensive. Cement is expensive. So what to do? We have many actions there. You can see some of the volunteers. This is the T-shirt of my university that we supply to the lots and lots of students going there to study and to profit of this facility profit that we designed. So here you see the team, the guys, Politecnico di Milano, they have all the T-shirts for there. There are many, many, many. They come from all the villages in this mission where we design many things. I show you some, not all of them. And again, you see the termites house, 4 meters tall, and the people here looking at the ground foundation. And let's come to this, which is in Burkina Faso, dangerous place for terrorism. And an association of Milano bought this land with nothing. when they bought it. Here we have recycled containers. These are steel containers. And we designed some small houses like this. This is a concept house, can be replied. In this case, the house is done by crude earth, plus a little bit of cement, steel, structure, and sandwich panels. And it's built with this machine. In this case, we care about how to produce the elements with a very, very low percentage of cement, around 10, 12%, because it's expensive. And then you produce this kind of Lego bricks. This is the machine. I bought one with my money for them. And then with the research, we bought other two. And you can produce a woman, because it has a big leverage distance, so a woman can easily make it. And you can produce 200 every day. Of course, you produce, then you have to cure, so to care the material, because crude earth with a little bit of humidity at the equator, if you don't cure it for a week, it will break due to the thermal deformations. So here you see what we did. We tried to create the perfect mixed design of the earth plus some fibers, rice fibers or burned rice fibers, etc., in order to obtain the best solution to reduce the cement. So what we did, different experiments of durability, of resistance. These is in Milan in front of my lab. We tried to pack them so you could see the wall. And then the resistance in the time exposed to water. Then we selected the one with a little percentage, of course, of cement, which were very long-lasting. And here is the production, the testing of the machine that was designed by an engineer in Torino. And she's this woman. Her surname is Mattone. Mattone means brick. Really, her surname is Brick. It's funny, but it is. And with his husband, now passed away, they designed this machine long ago. And she built there. So we didn't design this. We assumed this to make our own architecture. That's my team with her during the COVID. You see the block coming out. And then here the first block. They are the priests. And he's the volunteer that goes down to build, in this case. This is the machine to crush them. Each 100, you have to crush 2 of them and measure to keep the quality on the control. This is called like a Brazilian test of crash. And here are the curing of each brick that we did, the curing in terms of the weight, etc., before maturing, to study them before applying. Then that's the guy with me when we tested it in Italy, and then he went there, again, to build. You see the team. And you see Yannick is my, let's say, referent there. Every time he communicates with me. So I keep on the design and the management via WhatsApp with him, via sketches, sending straight on. And he's the guy there, so you see all the team. You see also Gloria somewhere here. She went there, but they were disappointed because they told her, you are dangerous for us. So I like her. She's more than 90. But it's dangerous. She goes there, but she puts at risk all the other, because if she kidnaps them, they are killed. So in this case, you see the curing, production of the bricks, the curing with some water. For a week, they cover it, etc., before being ready to mature and then to be used. But this is done with all the resources of the ground. So we care about the place from where the material comes and becomes this little house. Okay, the roof is a sandwich steel corrugated material that we supplied from Italy in that case, in a container with other things. So the mission has many suppliers. So here you see Gloria with all the guys and Yannick, the one with the hat on the right. The bricks on site already matured. These are the bricks ready to be built. Of course, you build in a dry season. Here the foundation. Foundation is like a platform, or can be in this case like a ring in concrete, and then you go up a little bit because the wet season will otherwise put in danger the foundation. And then you see the curing, putting one on one, the leveling, everything is done in a very proper way. You see all the community works to put it in position. Gloria was supervising there. That's me and Gloria in Milano. And that's the curing on the top. On the top, we have a ring of concrete that I designed, plus we have some fixing points where we have the steel structure of the roof, which is this, is the fixing point. We have some fixing point from this to this, and this is anchored to this, so the weight cannot fly away. And then on top of that, we have the corrugated roof. So people can stay here in the shadow, can stay around. And this is built quite quickly, very low cost. And you see, almost ended here. And then the curing, and this little girl doing the curing with the mother was very interesting for me to see this picture, how they take care of their own house. They don't have. They have, and this house is a proper house with nice space, with light, nice light ventilation. Normally, their own traditional houses are dark, and all the people live inside with darkness, in the darkness. So it's not the way of living. Even if you live and you come from that culture, they don't like to live 10 or 20 people packed in a black room, let's say. So this gives them a certain quality at a low cost. So again, this is the village traditional of this area in Burkina Faso. This is the very famous village painted. You see all this painting. And this painting, okay, is a decoration as a symbol, but it's also a plaster that preserved the earth to be damaged by the rain. So we did the same here with the traditional pattern they did. This part protects from the splashing of water to destroy the foundation. And on the top, the facade is protected by the overhang. So in case of rain, it is totally protected. And it has you see 1 and 2, we did 2 at the moment. We did a well, now it's not visible, a well that gets water. And now around, there was nothing. It was a desert. And now it's like that. It's full, they grow agriculture. These are the 6 old containers now. They fill it with onions or potatoes. They can sell to a price which is 1/3, which is 3 times more in the dry season than the normal price. But the normal price gets 10 times more in the dry season. So people save money and they gain and they refinance all this. So Yannick is the leader. So I was a skier. That's me. That was me. Champion, regional champion. Yeah, you see. I translate. You can be good citizens, but more than that, you have to be good ancestors, okay? I was a skier, not really professional, but was make competition. When I was a skier, I had 8 different pairs of ski. For each discipline, one just for the competition. You only using competition. The other one for training, plus, some, let's say, everyday ski. And these materials, skis, okay, when you go in Milano, at the end of the season, that was me and my son when he was a kid. You see the shadow. You look in a container of the trash and see how many skis you see. Many, many, many of them just thrown away. Why? Because they don't burn well. They are composites, you see. How you recycle is difficult. And we produce tons of ski in the Alps. Tons of ski. You don't have the idea of how many. And then they change the new models, etc. And the same in Japan if you go in the north. So these sports sometimes produce something, and we don't care after making the sport what we do with this. Okay, so this is the ski. If you cut one ski, we can see beautiful materials, carbon fibers, titanium, glulam, whatever. They are just top elements. But then once they glue together in a composite, what you do? They don't burn well. What you do with this? So what we did is, together with Grenoble University, this is a design done by a colleague of Grenoble University, but this is in Lecco, my students and her students. She's the professor. We built a dome of 8-meter diameter, so 4-meter radius. They already built in Grenoble, and we built 2 in Italy. One here in Lecco under my supervision. That's me during the construction on the top. You see Lecco Mountains. It's one of our campuses. And you see the skis going on. And then what we did together with some of my students, so that's why the one coming in my lab, they join this kind of thing. So Yui or also Ryoya, he will come. They have to join. Whatever is wood or others, they join. And these kids in the center of Italy, close to Modena, they were interesting for me. They called me, they knew my story and the use of ski in television, something like that. Then they wrote me, the 2 professors and the kids, because they have a certain group in that school that care about materials. They recycle the sneakers to create other things, etc. And so they wanted to make something for them. And I said, okay, I do because I like your association of young students doing that. So we went there. You see, we made small mock-ups with them. So kids were not allowed to touch the skis. The big was dangerous. But with my students, they made 2 small models. Okay, we cut CNC every piece, and then they were learning how to make it. So this is the students done mock-up. This is the tile that is made by recycling the sneakers. Is soft. Okay, recycled rubber or polyurethane. Now all this is polyurethane in all sneakers to make the tiles on the floor, ground floor. So we made 1, 2, and the real one. And the real one, again, we cared about a society, which is the students younger than us, my students, university and me, plus old people of the village. They are now retired. They helped to build it. And we built this structure, which was quite amazing. They could use gather together. So these were the anchoring elements to keep it down, full of concrete. And then in the middle, they put the floor in recycled tiles. And this is the whole group of students coming from all around the world. They meet there, speaking about these issues, about recycling materials and how to deal with these things. Then let's go back again in Guinea-Bissau. Guinea-Bissau is in Africa. The equator is here. It looks like a little butterfly. I call it borboleta, little butterfly, because it looks like. Okay, these are islands. It's a very rich nation, but very poor in terms of the economy, because here you have a lot of pirates. So the cocaine comes from Brazil, Colombia, goes here, and then goes up to Europe. So here you have pirates, okay? So normal people are really in danger there. They don't profit of the richness of the forest or of the ground, because the trade is different, okay? So this is the hut, okay, where people live in Guinea-Bissau, like in Burkina Faso. So you see, thatch roof, no light, 1 door, they just live, earth, and then you have these elements, because here is full of water when it rains. So this is the scheme, and hardwood, very hardwood here, otherwise termites kill them. From this, I designed this, which is a yurt, which was only temporary there. And the yurt is made, you will see, out of skis. You have light from there and ventilation. This is a blackout. This is not a blackout, you see through. This is a sculpture. It was 5 meters tall. This is just now the symbol, and it was by a friend, Guido Scarabottolo, sold to sustain this action. Which is this? You see the structure, like a yurt. You have the skis creating the structure here. Then there is a pillar in the middle made by recycled scaffoldings. And here we also made the design of the Enzo Mari. Enzo Mari was a famous Italian designer who designed self-made furniture. So we designed the self-made furniture by Enzo Mari and recycle of ski. You see the double ski like that are in this direction. So not flat, but in this, so inertia is more. Here is flat like that, plus bracing, plus the tie here and tie there. So it's very stiff. The structure gets very stiff. Well, the funny thing is to send ski to Africa, because they don't have any snow. Okay, so the first time and this is important. You remember why Ban Shigeru made the paperboard. You know that. Because the first shelters by UNHCR were in aluminum or steel structure and fabrics in Rwanda. What they did, they sold the metal, and then they cut the forest. So they created 10,000 refugees. You can imagine how they destroy a forest, and they sold the material. That's why he invented the way of using that paper to give a solution, and that paper had no value, had a structural value, not a commercial value. Same for the ski. What can they do with the ski? Nothing, nothing at all. They are very, very strong. Termite cannot eat them, we told before. So like the earth. So in this case, you see the ski. And look, this is quite impressive picture, because for the foundation of what? Of this mission. This is a mission that we designed or partially designed, steel plus, and is a kind of pitch roof plus sandwich panels. They have to dig more than 1 meter to get the gravel. And this is done by women and children. You see, women and children getting the stones to create the concrete, the part of the concrete. So you see all the skis coming there, and the yurt, that we call the fisherman yurt, is here. It was like a base camp to build a mission. This is in the middle of the forest, very, very wild, a lot of vegetation. But here come students from all the villages around. And you see here again the termite house, This is dry season. Remember this, it's almost 3 meters. And the yurt is there. So here you see when it rains, the termite house is gone. This is also all crude earth. So we have steel structure, pillars and beams and sandwich. Sandwich makes like an umbrella, protects this. And this is, again, and also this is all crude earth, okay, for the ventilation. So you see the mission, where we were concentrated on the yurt. When the mission structure was there, still the blocks were not ready because the blocks were starting to be ready, not with that machine. Different, this was with a different technology, but they need to be protected in case of rain. So we created this for a temporary shelter to protect the different blocks before putting them into the frame of steel. So here you see the yurt structure. Then you see the yurt ended, then the blocks, then they were protected in the dry season, no problem. When they were ready, then protected, and then they have been used to finish. And this is very nice picture because you see during the opening party inside, dancing inside the yurt. You see blackout on top. Here you could see through, you had some light. And this is a picture I love most because I see this, you see people dancing around and you see all the structure there. Of course, then we put some PV on. Still, you see the pavilion there. You see the sand, the red sand on top. And this is the yurt. So, and that was me skiing when I was very, very little. I remember this picture very well. Okay, I was winning this competition in that case. And I saw the photographer there. And my eyes, here you don't see, really looking the photographer. I always have fun when I see this picture because then I see this picture and his eyes. And this beautiful eyes is of a guy that is happy because he's building his own school. You know, he was the one taking out and caring for his own school, taking out the stone to make the foundation. Interesting. So we helped him to make it and all the community. And here I can translate by Henri Matisse, famous painter, French painter. You have always to see life, to look at life with the same eyes of a child. And beautiful eyes reminds me, even my eyes when I was a child, to have dreams. And his dreams is education, culture. So this, I translate, is a principle of Western philosophy. Earth, we've spoken about earth, fire, energy, okay? Water, we have seen water before, and air, okay? In Japan, in Asia, you have also this, which is the emptiness, the fifth element that is very, very strong in your culture, in your architecture, in architecture. So the fifth element is the emptiness. Now let's start with the emptiness. The emptiness, now we see the emptiness of this little shelter that I designed in Sicily, Favara. This was funny because this building, I call this equilateral, okay? You call it the triangle, equilateral, with the same length. How you call equilateral? Okay. So I call this installation equilateral before seeing that it was placed in the place where a writer made this. This was by case, you know, is in the same place, Favara. And this structure is made with all leftovers of crosslam. Crosslam is a CLT. Do I have something to sketch? Because CLT, yes, you can sketch there. Okay, CLT is produced into commercial dimensions by a producer. And then somebody wants to make a house or a wall, and this wall you touch like that, because your wall, your necessity is this, and not that, and this is a leftover. So you use this, then they put window, and they have other leftovers, etc. But this part, which was this, is not a beam, it's not glulam, because glulam is like that. Glue laminated timber is like that. Cross-laminated timber is not like that. You have elements in this direction and cross-laminated. So not like that, piled up, but in perpendicular direction. So once you look at this beam is like that. Has some good part and some weak part. So the good part is this one in terms of flexion, deflection, and this is just a connecting part. So you cannot use it as a beam in a traditional way. And this is all left over with glues. Here you have glue. And so you need to, all this, and the industry produce a huge amount of these scraps. So what we do, in this case, I create a structure which was like my fingers. Like my fingers, oh, sorry, not only like that, but also on the foundations, okay? So it was self-stable and only fixed with screws. So no bolts, no expensive plates, nothing. Redundant, we can call it, okay? This was equilateral, you see, just the first installation, which was inspired by this in Sicily. They have these agricultural shelters. That's why I was starting to make this kind of, you see, this is the pavilion, okay? And you see the scraps? So outside you have the same line. Inside they can be variable because these can be 15, 20, 25, can vary. So you keep the same line here, and inside is more variable, here and there. And then we have the connection here. And then I created here a public bench by fixing some concrete small panels, aqua panel, plus a membrane, otherwise it will decay, the softwood, protected. And here on top, we have some fiberglass, okay? So the pavilion, you see, from the scraps of Crosland, these are all leftovers, gave to me for free by Galloppini. Next time I will bring you. No, we have been to Galloppini. No, we haven't. Next time we go. You have seen the bench, which was another thing. So here you see one of my students, the different elements we had. The concept is basically this. So you have all these elements, which creates a triangle. And of course, anytime there is an inversion, so you have the continuity of the packet system. So in this direction is stable, and in this direction, triangular is very stable. So here you see what we have done, me, my students, and some of the students of builders close to our campus. We built it once in the facility they have, so you see the elements. We had some fun. And then we brought everything down to the place in Sicily, and the place given for us. You see the construction, the erection, the fixing, some of my students helping a little bit. And then it was stood there for a long time to be a common table, let's say a shared table, let's see, like that you could sit, you could eat. I don't know even these people. It was on Instagram. We took down. It was very much used, this place. And this is me with Mario Cucinella, very famous Italian architect. He's designed the Osaka pavilion. That's why for Expo, Osaka, he's the designer of Italian pavilion. Okay, so he was there to see the space, which was really interesting. You see this is fiber, polycarbonate or fiberglass, I don't remember. On top, everything is just fixed with normal screws, not expensive detailing. And did its function for quite a time, and then dismantled, totally dismantled. But this was the starting point to go here. Here we are in Napoli. Napoli is a very important, beautiful city of Italy, which has a surrounding quite complicated. Scampia. Scampia is a city very, very tough in Napoli, where you have a lot of Camorra, mafia, and killings and smugglers, etc. But now it's changing. This is a mural done by a very famous, he was an Italian poet, Angela Davis, and then you enter in the tough part of Napoli. And so what we did again, we created, you see, the equilateral structure by modifying it a little bit. That's me there. You see, this is a priest that works very much with the local community of gypsies and also the people living there in a very, very humble situation. That's Maradona. They love Maradona, the football, because he played for Napoli. And some friends helped me to build that small evolution of the equilateral. Again, with all leftovers. All the material was given to me for free. You see the leftovers of Crosland. This is large outside, so these were quite nice. But I want them to have variable cut, not regular. So these were commercially, for them it was leftover. So they gave, and thermoreflective skin. So these skins normally are used in aerospace. At the end, these are all leftovers of panels. We select a nice pattern of colors. This is the opening with a nun and with all the kids. These are pictures of the opening. Inside also we provide all the interior design, all the toys. That's the opening. So you see also there a lot of people, they don't have nothing. They didn't have this small place to play. So we create the place. We cared about the place and the children. And this is a nice picture because I did also a big beam of 6 meters span by recycled crosslam, and ski. These are skis. This is a tie of skis. This is the diagonal intention, compression. So again, with all leftovers, mixture of ski, leftover, plus crosslam. This is a funny, this is not true. Okay, you understand. It's a tip. You remember New York? They are all sitting on steel. So we created this. We were seated in the same bench, and then we created the effect. So, getting almost to the end of my talk, this was a nice drawing by my master, Ettore Zambelli, who passed away long ago. And there's written, at the end of the day, the things are simpler than what you think. So even when they are complicated. But sometimes they can be complicated. This is a toy that was known as Meccano. I don't know if you had it in Japan. I think so. With the multi-possibility of connecting. This looks like a Eiffel Tower, like a toy. I had it when I was a child, so it was always in my mind. I always designed very much using steel. I love steel. I designed this system. That's me with Licio Tamborino together, SCAF system. They used to design scaffoldings for logistics. And they gave me a mission with money, a research, some of my students also involved, to design a system for housing architecture. Now you see a first mock-up of a house. Of course, the reference is Fernand Léger. You see here the builders. This is a typical picture that everyone that loves steel loves to show. I love to show because it looks like this. If you look at them, they really look alike, okay? So it's a nice system. We have some plates there, connection, multiple, flexibility. Now, this system is used to build architecture. This was the very beginning. You see the connections, the elements. We won the very important prize. Adi is Design Milano and different prize for Compasso D'Oro. And you can create also big beams with this system now. Before they used it for other purpose. Now we create structure which are quite big. But let's go to my final project, which is the one on the poster, with many partners involved, that I am involved. Many of this company works with me since a long time. Association, this is the association mother. And is an association for children with very severe disability of neurological development. So handicaps quite severe, okay? And the name of the building is Synapses, and this is the logo. We'll talk about it later. So sometimes to care, you need to look beyond. And to do beyond, you need to study, you need to concentrate. Otherwise, you get stuck on the barriers. So this was one of the first image of the outside. Should have a canopy with these systems. Then you see the structure there, the facade. You still don't understand how it's done. Now I tell you. But we start not from the building. I like to start from the people. He's Orlando, and Orlando cannot talk, can walk with difficulty, has a small deletion in the DNA that doesn't allow his brain to evolve like other people, which does not mean that he is less than me. He is another person. And we are the ones that can synchronize ourselves on these people, not on reverse. So we should have another level of language and communication, which is possible, huh? And we should care. With no care, it's not possible for them to live a life with dignity. And his father knew my work. So his father approached me. I didn't know them. He is the president of the association, which is called Blue Eyes. And it happened that when he contacted me, because the kid now is 10. When the kid was around 3, when they realized Filippo and his wife, or more, 4 or 5, that he was so severely ill, they realized very quickly. But when 3 or 4 years ago, when he started to contact me, it was just after his wife passed away. You can realize. So my friend had 2 children, the first one with no problem, Orlando with some problems, and they wanted to realize a space in Cremona. Cremona is close to Milano, for the people of the region with this severe situation, to get them a space where to stay, and also to make some therapy, and also for the family, because sometimes you care about the kids, but who cares about the family, which are every day in such a difficulty to take care to the children. So we wanted to create an open space, an open architecture, not something which is a ghetto, not an hospital where you need to hide the people with problems. A place where also people are allowed to come from the neighborhood to get a coffee there, with some pools that you can see can be also used by people that do sports. They have an injury, they can use these pools, and not only the people that profit of these therapies. Now I'm showing you this. So again, where it is in a park in the western part of Cremona, close to, not far away from the River Po, it's a popular housing surroundings. And if you are there, you live there, you don't have any cafe to drink. You need to take the car. Now we created a bar, open bar here, so they can come and get a coffee. In the park, you have people walking, but before it was a little bit, not dangerous, but a bit dark. And now with this place, it creates a kind of safety place where they can sit, they can drink something. So we created the place. The place was no place. We created it. And doing that, I involved 9 of my graduation students during the years. Everyone could do something. But the first thing is, for me, before letting be in my team and understand what I wanted to do, to understand why, for whom they were doing this. Not for them, not for me, for them, okay? So they spend, like me, every year. We spend time with them. We help in the activities. Here you see the president of the association. The other son now is bigger. And the dog they have, and the other co-designer and partner, because they are engineers both. So they heard me in a conference, like today. I was speaking, and then they involved me, and then we became friends, and some of my students. So here was the view from the top. You see the park. You see the cherry tree, sakura. We call this sakura alley, really sakura in Japanese, because we want to dedicate the sakura when Hanami blows to his wife, passed away. So the first day when we placed the first column, we placed the first sakura there. And now we are going to plant these. And then you see green roof. The layout was already given. So I arrived when the layout was given, and I was transforming everything. The roof was green, the facade I totally transformed by inletting new. And I created these light wells and all these skylights. It was also my intervention to make it more efficient, okay? But urbanistically speaking, this position was given before, not by me. Maybe I would have done differently. But anyway, that was the situation. So the structure, very quickly built, the Meccano steel frame, as we call it. So it's a platform plus Meccano, very quickly built. Here you have the installation technical services system place. So here you see 1 year ago, you don't see nothing, one and a half, it was June. And this is the name My Love, You My Love, because it's a very famous song from a famous singer, Mina, Italian singer. And we create an ocean of all these words which were in Cremona, because then we involved many, many children. 1st of June is the Sakura, Ciliegi's Sakura. Sakura Hanami Festival, because it was the birthday of the wife, Silvia, who passed away. So here you see my team, my students, the technology used also by Knauf is innovative, because the Meccano steel frame is SCAF system and Knauf together. The lightness is very important, because it's a part of the value of the system. The light is so light, can be quickly built, but very resistant. So you see the surrounding. There is nothing. So now there is a bar, so it creates. And here, we didn't cut any tree. It was already like that, empty of trees. So we didn't touch any tree. We planted more, and we created the green roof. So we cared also about the nature and the wife and the water. So this is the first, not the first stone, because there is no stone, the first column that we placed there. This was the major of Cremona, Filippo, me, and the other guys you see there. So the roof is sandwich panels, plus the green roof you see. You start seeing the openings element for the light. The structure is quickly built, like a Meccano, plus insulation, plus all the necessary membranes, plasterboard that we are needed. So this is a seismic zone, but this structure is very light and elastic. So seismically speaking, it helps the lightness, okay? And then the designing of special pools, 3 pools, 3 very special pools. I will show you later. Here is the light analysis. So from the very beginning to an improvement thanks to the insertion of skylights. And here you see during this special gypsum for wet space, 1, 2, and 3 small pools with different possibilities. So now this is on reverse. This is a pool with a stream here, so you swim, but you don't move. You have a stream against you. And then you have the big pools with a knife, and here from this point, you see that the pools are like that. So the assistant stays and makes the children makes activity without bowing down. Otherwise, you get backache. And a third pool there. So this is a full of activities. But you always see the nature outside and through. And you can see through the building from here through all there. So the light comes from everywhere. So we really cared about the psychological effect of light, of nature around, of being hugged by the nature. So we cared about the score of the building, which is an active house, so very high score. So you can also check active house and active house China, so you can understand, because we work with this environment, active house, okay? And there is also active house China, so it's written in Chinese. So you see the skylights and the courtyards with different maple, momiji, ginkgo. There are different courtyards in honor to Japan, okay? Sakura is in honor to Japan, so for me it was important to show this. And here you see the green roof, already growing this summer, now it's full. The facade, this was the first concept of the facade with me and a mock-up in the center of the city, but it was too regular. I didn't like it so regular and didn't like the brown color. So we create a variation. This is the system. You see the steel structure, Meccano, the sandwich panel, the ventilated facade, insulation, plasterboard. And this was what I wanted, more variation, because we are all different. We need variation. We are not all the same. We are all different. And each one of us, like the children there, needs an importance. So this variation was more interesting for me. And this is the first mock-up of the variation. Of course, these were all small sticks, but in the reality, this is one, you will see. But this was the first mock-up. This is facade going on. You see the mechanical facade. This facade almost ended, and you see how beautiful is the variation compared, and how clearer. These trees are trees of the park. Fagus, cherry, oak. These are there around. But this is not wood. This is rock panel, compressed rock wool, very resistant outside, with this kind of permanent painting on, okay? So you have this effect of wood, but the structure is a mineral. And this is the facade almost completed. These were the two, you remember, technical services system. The week before the opening, which was done in this was in September, recently in September, I went there and I saw these, they were gray like that. But when you're inside, you see them. So they are outside, but when you're inside, you see them. So I was not happy for this because they left. So I called a friend of me, Calchera San Giorgio, to have the painting, special bio painting. That's me. And by night, with some projector, we created the rabbits. You see, that's me painting the rabbit with my students, the one you know, Pietro and Emanuele. By night, you see them, but Pietro is here. By night, this is Miyazaki, a deer by Miyazaki. We made a huge deer. So now it's like that, you see, from gray like that. So sometimes you cannot care about that. You can leave gray, okay, it works anyway. It has technical systems inside. But for me, it was important to go till the detail, till these kind of things. How much I have? 5 minutes? It's gone?
Just, whenever you are finished. It's very interesting.
I'm almost finishing. On the roof, we have all the green roof plus the energy, photovoltaics, PV is on the top. You can see them now around. And this green roof can store the water. So again, this is drainage. It's asphalt, special alphas that drain the water. So we collect all the water possible on the roof, and then this is very permeable. Now we see this color, beige and gray, but it's very permeable. It's not asphalt. So you see, and soon we will plant, now is the season to plant the momiji over there. So you see the facade. And let's come almost to the end. That's me with the family, Filippo, his son Sebastiano, and Orlando. Orlando can now a little bit walk. He has learned to walk in the pools, not those pools, in other pools. Because in the water, he was more confident. In the water, you can fall down, but the water stops you. So he's really like a fish. When he's in the water, he makes a... And he's is now learning with his time, because it takes a different time. For him, it's a different time that for me, for you. And we need to give there the time to him and to other guys like Orlando, or different, because anyone is different. So this, you remember the symbol, is because he cannot talk, he cannot write, but he can do on the LIM with the finger, these drawings. And then we changed the color, okay? We fixed the files. I saw these files, say, I want to use this. His father showed me this picture. And I said, give me the file. Save the file. And we saved it. We transformed it into the logo, and from the logo into a pattern. The pattern became T-shirt, cap, clothes to be sold for auctions. This is the symbol when we put the first column. The symbol we made on wood, we made on stone, we made everything. We make a part of a work of art. And also a pattern for the sun shading of some canopies outside. It becomes everything inside. So we cared about, this was the sign given by Orlando. So for me it was important. I brought it into other parts of Italy, Arte Sella, as a work of art. This is the first test of the symbol that is at the entrance. Once we were almost finishing the facade, I bring my students to see the construction. Now it's finished, so we will show them this presentation. But at that time, they could see all the technology. Should see my former Chinese PhD scholar, plus all my guys, students and PhD scholars. And then we transformed it also into a jewel. This was the bigger one, this was the smaller one. So it became a part of all this story, and it came from Orlando. So what Círculo found out, maybe also a bit forcing, but it is that inside this symbol, you can find out some part of this Chinese character. Something good is going to happen. Is it correct? You can read? Something good is correct. It's going to happen. So we found out this, which was really driving us till the end of this project. And that is a symbol at the entrance, which is there. This was when we opened the building a couple of months ago. It's really very, very well functioning now, and beautiful light inside. And so, domo arigatou gozaimashita. I'm very happy to have shown this to you. And let's care to architecture, and let's care to the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Really inspiring, amazing lecture. Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the audience or from anyone online?
May I ask one? I'm very interested in the bricks made of soil, the project.
In
the bricks made of soil.
Yes, bricks
Yes.
made of soil plus cement. So it's clay, very fine clay, plus cement, plus water.
So my research topic is about Kyōmachi, the traditional residential house in Kyoto.
Mm-hmm.
And the walls of that house are made of soil, actually. So they have a wooden structure.
Yes, yes, I know.
Like the blackboard.
We have done also things research for that. Yes.
Yes, but the walls are made of soil, so when it dries, it shrinkages.
No, in this case, once you make the block, and in this case the block, and it's dry off, it becomes stiff. It's a block. It has no more action of expansion or others. In the case of the plaster, it's slightly different. So you have the structure, elastic, and then you have the plaster, which is makes it more active in a way. So it's different, and different climate. You have here in Kyoto, and you have there. So it's a different solution. But we have also done some experiments similar to Kyoto. With my students, they came here. We have done some research on plaster, thanks to Calquera San Giorgio, which is a producer of plasters.
Yes, so in the Kyoto case, there would be gaps between the soil walls and the wood structures because of shrinkage.
Yes, but you have a lot of fibers. If you look at the Kyoto plasters, it's a genial way of making the plaster because they had all this rice straw plaster inside. So even if you have a kind of movement, the soil does not crack thanks to the fibers. And it is alive with the moisture and with the climate here. So then, of course, you can have earthquake, you can have situation too dry, too wet. But in general, it's a technology that comes from such a long time and such appropriate to this place that difficultly I will find some critical things on that. Maybe we can find ideas out of that, new ideas, you know? Today, thanks to Professor Daniell, I was inspired when he came last time. I visited Tofukuji and I visited the Shigemori Mirei Gardens. And Shigemori Mirei Gardens show the way you can design gardens appropriate for the place, very contemporary, but looking at the past with a new proposal. The same could be with Kyoto plasters. You can look at them, different if it's for restoration, you need to keep, restore, but maybe you can have some new ideas on how to use this plaster in a new way. Why not? But, I mean, I don't see such a criticalities in such a beautiful way of making architecture and construction using Kyoto plaster. Okay?
Yes, thank you. Different solutions for different climates.
The solution is given by the place always. In China, you have beautiful houses, what is the name? Hakka house, the round one in Fujian, with big walls of crude earth and wood balconies, for example. In Africa, you have pisé. Pisé is made of compressed earth, framed laterally, so it becomes sticked, and then once it's glued, because it has clay inside. Clay is like a glue. Then you need to protect from the rain, because otherwise the rain will spoil it. So that's why you see all this protection. You have to care, and you have to care about the materials. So, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question about the skis. I'm from Norway, so
yes.
I've seen them before.
Jag pratar inte norsk, men jag förstår lite grann.
Okej, ja, förstår lite grann. Nice.
I show my Swedish. Sorry. No. Jag går inte norsk, I'm not norsk.
Ja, väldigt bra.
Jättebra.
I wonder if, because they come in different sizes, so did you make a flexible system? Where you can use
of course
sizes?
we try to select, when you choose them, you have to select something which is comparable, because if you have very different dimension, you get problems. But the good thing is that you have such an amount that you can select exactly what is needed for your purpose. And if you go around and search, you see that some people use them to design benches, some others, so you can have possibilities. The question is, what we do now with the skis? Nothing, because even if you cut them, they don't burn well. And you have a lot of so precious material, which what you do. In this case, I think, can open new solution. I'm not saying we are going to build in Africa with that, because you see the yurt was just temporary to build a mission. And the mission was done in steel, panels, sandwich, and corrugated, and crude earth. Okay? But they can be interesting. And now, after the construction, where are the ski now? You want to know? They are used to frame spaces for animals. Okay, so they have dismantled it and reused it, also because they will be resistant and they will take a long time to be, they don't pollute, they don't disgregate so quickly. So it's something that our society has already produced it. So what to do? So I mean, it was interesting for me to show you the process, not the solution itself. Okay.
Yeah. And I also wondered about scaffolds, like
the pillar in the middle?
Yeah, the ones you used in the construction of that house, right there. The Meccano.
The Meccano. It's not a scaffold. It's used for logistics. Oh yeah, you may call scaffold for where you store, big storage. Yeah.
But were they recycled or were they produced for?
No, this is newly produced. You can also use the recycle. But this is newly produced, and they have the line of production. This, I can write you the name of this company. You can go and check. The company's name is Scaf System. And then they have also, this line is scaffoldings, industrial scaffoldings. And this line is design, Officine Tamburrino. Tamburrino. With N and O. Tamburrino. So they make design, they make scaffoldings. They didn't have any line for making architecture. That's why they call me, They paid me for doing this research. And we create the third line, so design, industrial, architecture. And when you have a company, what they teach you in every economical thing is to differentiate. Because maybe in a time you are stronger in the scaffoldings, in a time you are stronger in the request of design, interior design, I mean, chairs, etc. In a period you are stronger in architecture. And they can do the same with the same material, okay? If you go and check, they make beautiful products, and thanks to our collaboration now, this is one, but we have built many. You have seen other things.
Mm. Yeah, and my follow-up question then is, what is the advantage of this scaffolding system compared to like ordinary steel systems?
Very quickness, lighter, because this is it's called a light steel frame, cold formed steel. It's not laminated steel. This is cold formed. A lot of quick things. Built, dismantleable. I can dismantle, reuse, etc., etc. Many different things. Quickness. The competitivity on the construction side is also about the time. This goes very quickly on. And it's a light steel frame, cold formed steel, which is a different branch from a normal steel structure. And then these also already all these voids that you see in the structure, which are very already quick to hang a suspended ceiling, to fix the facade. A lot of mechanical. A system gives a lot of advantage compared to something which is not a system. But behind this, you need to create the system. So behind all that, you need to create all this. Now I'm showing you. Let's go back a little bit. You see, all this is a combination of different systems. The second system is the facade. This is a sandwich panel plus a steel element plus, again, this black is steel to fix the facade. So again, all these studies, and this I studied these systems with another company, which is called Isopan. So, and we merged the two systems. And the green roof is another research. So all this now is on the market. So you see, I like to test and to make real things, but then they became industry market. I don't know what they do with the systems. They just do.
So we're running over time. There's the last couple of questions.
Thank you for the presentation. My question is about kind of like a general question that is about social states of kind of upcycle, how do you say, how is the social states which is about upcycle to the architecture? For example, I'm actually like have an experience of using the recycling material to architecture design, and also last year I was teaching at in Switzerland about these topics. And about
where in Switzerland? Where?
In Zurich, ETH, and was very surprised with the situation. About the recycling material is very different from Japanese states. For example, in Japanese level, people are very interested in this kind of topic, but still as an aesthetic way. But in the Switzerland, like the regulation is going to be changed, and nowadays like concrete is not cannot be used for the buildings like recently, and also students are more very is kind of familiar with the calculation of the carbon
life cycle,
that kind of things.
Carbon
footprint. So that kind of situation is very different, I have a feeling. And this is kind of similar all over the Europe, or what is the...
Well, quite, Europe is sensitive on that. And of course, we should not be extremists on that, but there are some interesting experiences. One very important, starting from the Netherlands, is called urban fabric. Urban fabric? No, urban mining. Urban mining. Urban mining is interesting because it shows how you can reuse some materials for concrete, recycle, or other things. And this is interesting because there is, if you want to have European fixed a vision towards 2030, 2050 about sustainability. So if you feel a problem, you need to do something different. And these differences can come, for example, by using different resources, creating cycles. It doesn't mean that concrete is evil. Concrete is fundamental for the foundation. you don't have any other chance. But you can reduce it because concrete is very much energy demanding. The carbon footprint of concrete is the highest. And this you can calculate now, with no doubt. And at the end of life, concrete, even if it lasts long, but not that long, concrete is not stone, is not even wood that lasts hundreds of years. Concrete shows already the problem of mixing two materials, steel and concrete. And it is a young material. So I think that we can have different views. And in Europe in general, there is, in Europe now, I mean, a certain view. We don't know if the election, which are changed, there is a different opinion about that. So the far right, they don't have any kind of interest and clue about the climate. They have declared in the actual commission in Europe, they want to fight against that. But what is driving is the people. The people around, whatever the politics says, they like some changes. So, but of course, it cannot be never a quick change. It's never a quick change. But for example, recycling plastics, try to avoid the use of plastics. For example, now in Milano, in university, you almost don't see plastic bottles. They all have the refill. And this is an habit that you can see, because people feel it, and okay, they avoid the one-to-one use of plastic, which does not mean that plastic is evil. Politecnico invented the plastic, you know that. Nobel Prize was Giulio Natta and Ziegler, a German and Italian from Milano. They invented the polymers. So we are very specialized in polymers. But now are coming biopolymers or polymers of second use, or for example, from a bottle, there are industry in Italy, many, so it's not just one. From this, they create insulation. And so in my buildings I want this as an insulation because it comes from a recycled, and I can avoid to take new material from the ground. So it's an habit that people are feeling more and more in an interesting way, not an aesthetical way. Because you can show or not, but it's not the way they want. Like, in example, the jeans insulation by Renzo Piano, you don't see anymore. It's inside the wall, so it's not an insulation. It's not an aesthetical issue. Okay? Okay?
Other questions? No? Okay.
Okay.
Online, no questions? Okay. Okay.
Arigato.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's it for this evening.
Thank you. Thank you.